Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video, is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number HSS2000 by S44D. This happens to be a 48 by 84 kit, just means 4070. This video will serve as evidence, of course, of all of the sizes that are available. And I'm just going to pull the material out so that we can visually inspect it. Go over these labels that are here as well. We'll get into the installation instructions in this video, which are actually the part of the packaging that's here as well. So the HSS, Hot Smoke Seal, is what that stands for. Hot Smoke Seal. This is combined with their S44. So you've got the HSS, which is this intumescent material that's right at the tip of my finger, my fingernail. The S44 is that material that I'm pushing up a little bit with this fin. So what they're doing here is they are basically taking some intumescent material, putting it behind the S44, giving you a solution to solving a combination smoke and fire sealing requirement. Not that necessarily this will solve all of the requirements based on the category of door that you're working on, but the fact of the matter is it's intended to be smoke and fire. And in how this works, just to be brief about it, is that intumescent, when it hits something in the range of, mid 200 degree Fahrenheit, whatever it might be, it substantially expands and closes that gap between the door and its frame on the jambs and at the header. If I were to apply a lighter to that, we'd be able to view that reaction. The S44 is a very typical type of material. They can also do the HSS with the S88, and the S88 is the common teardrop style as well. This, and we're going to go over the extended description information. When you order these for doors, they're going to come in lengths. This 48 by 84 will have a 50-inch piece, and then two 86-inch pieces is what it will be. The D in the part number stands for dark brown. That's going to be the color of the S44 that you have. Okay, chemically inert, highly stable, expandable graphite strip, intumescent, tested and proven in positive pressure conditions to withstand both hot smoke and hot gases, resulting in longer integrity of the door assembly, during the event that's occurring on the door. Hot Smoke Seal, HSS, can be painted to blend in with the finish of the frame. Does not require periodic aftermarket field inspections. Will not degrade from carbon dioxide and ozone exposure like Pemko says their competitions will or can. Will not degrade from carbon, unaffected by moisture, and will not break down like fiber-based or cellulose-based products. Combines their SiliconSeal, their S44, with the HSS intumescent fire seal, creating an innovative sealing system that provides optimal protection against fire, smoke, and heat. There is a storage life with these. Don't keep this laying around for more than 6 months. Store it between 50 and 100 degree Fahrenheit. And let's go over the dimensional properties, and then we'll break into the installation instructions. So according to the factory, this is 7/16 wide, and according to my caliper, it's 0.456, so basically 7/16, 0.456. It has a relaxed projection of 5/16, and I would say that that would be 0.39 inch. I would certainly say that would, I wouldn't say it'd be quite 5/16, but going to be every bit of 0.37. Okay, so heavy on 5/16. A thickness of the material itself, they've got 3/64 of an inch, and when I put my caliper on here, including the paper backer, I have 0.082. Okay, so 0.082 is almost 3/64 of an inch. When I put my caliper on this compressed, 0.1 0.105. So, according to NFPA 80, fire-rated wood doors, you can have not more than 1/8 of an inch margin. Okay, your margin can be less, but it can't be more than 1/8 to have a fire-rated door. When I compress this all the way down, we're about a 0.105. Okay, so that's going to be less than 1/8 of an inch, so that should work without any trouble. I would very much want to use beveled edge doors on this. Very much want that. Because I don't want the square edge of the door making any contact with the face of this material, okay, as it's coming into the closed position. If it's a hollow metal door, you've got 1/8 of an inch plus or minus a 1/16, so it can be up to 3/16 margin. So this material is certainly intended to work within the requirements of NFPA 80 for maximum door gap, so that's really good. Low closing force fin seal, yeah, it doesn't take much to fold that over, that's for sure. Okay. Now there's a note there about thoroughly cleaning the frame, and that's where it takes us to our installation instructions. So let's move to the installation instructions at this point. Okay, now the second part of this video brings us to the page where we can pull up the installation instructions, and they're linked to right here. And this is what I was referring to earlier. We're going to get to that in a moment. Installation instructions, and again, this is part of the packaging, and while your paperwork will look different, it's all the same information. Page 1 will be an overview of the material. You can do this material in the dark bronze or in the W for white. Okay. The fin material is made of silicone. Scrolling out at the top of this, Category G materials are necessary for use on Category B door assemblies. Edge seals might need a Category H smoke seal. It'll depend on what's being called out in your code. Now, here's the bottom line. The installation instructions, there's not really much to it. However, it's incredibly important to observe what they're talking about. I've installed, and the reason I say that is I've installed the material, and I've also installed it and it failed. Did that only once. Okay, we talked about shelf life. Here we go. Before installing, thoroughly clean the frame with the enclosed cleansing towelette. And yes, they're actually giving you an alcohol wipe included with the material, and it's called the frame cleaner. That's how important it is to thoroughly clean the frame. Don't only use that. You want to clean the frame, and I would use the cleansing towelette at the very end to remove grease, dust, or cleanser buildup. Before installation, wait for the frame surface to completely dry. Let that alcohol evaporate off. Some hospital environments may have wax or antibacterial cleanser buildup as an alternative or substitute cleanser. As an alternative or substitute cleanser, isopropyl alcohol. Don't use mineral spirits. That's obviously going to strip off whatever finish is on the frame. Not below 50 and not above 100 for both storage and installation. You really want it at proper room temperature. When to install. Installation should take place after construction is complete, including the flooring is installed and the final cleaning has been completed. This material should literally be the last step in construction. The paint on the frame has to be cured for at least a week. Paint cannot be wet under the surface. Okay? There are primers that will leave a powdery surface. I've used those and they're lousy, completely lousy. So be sure that it's completely clean. If you have a wood frame, non-porous and sealed, you might even brush it up a little bit with Scotch-Brite to give yourself some additional surface area, but must be completely clean. Antibacterial, antifungal, or silicone additives in paint may inhibit adhesion. So don't stretch the material. The product can retract or shrink if stretched, and I'll demonstrate that when we get to the end of this page. Use very firm perpendicular pressure. use a wallpaper seam roller to reinforce adhesion after applying. I don't do that at all. I don't want to run the risk of that material moving horizontally on me at all. Don't stretch the material when using that seam roller. Run roller up and down in downward motions. Double check the installation after 2 or 3 hours, and certainly before leaving the job site. So that means install this material certainly in the AM. If gasket separates from the frame, press it again. And it's okay to do so if you have a failure within a few minutes of initial adhesion. But if it remains separated for some time, you're probably going to have to replace it and start over. Application at header can be awkward due to the overhead condition. Be sure to apply enough pressure. The adhesion takes a delayed set. Immediate removal and resetting can be done. Do not reset after 1 hour. Full set is reached in 24 hours. So, pre-cut the jamb length, hinge, and header pieces. And what you'll do is you'll measure them, you'll cut them, so that when you install the material, not in a continuous roll, and even mitering it at a 45-degree angle in the intersection between the header and the jambs, the purpose to pre-measure and cut is so that when you have it installed, if it's too short or too long, there's a problem. If it's exactly the right size, then you know that you're in good shape. They say remove 24-inch of backing. I work with a little bit shorter length than that because I find that having 24-inch forces me to stretch the material to get it straight. And it will certainly resume its natural elasticity, as they talked about earlier. Certainly don't get the adhesive on the back dirty at all. Again, don't stretch it. Hand roller is highly recommended, according to them. Now, I certainly agree with the use of the hand. I've stretched it in the past, so now I'm very paranoid about stretching the material. But anyway, shorter lengths I like because I don't want to inadvertently stretch the material. And this is really the most important thing. Apply firm pressure and do that for a long period of time. I'll get that pressed for 60 seconds in all of those areas. Get it firmly pressed, and then I'll go back and apply a lot of pressure. It's important to note where you're installing it. It's going to be installed on the rabbet of the frame in all 3 locations. Okay, so on the 2 jambs, it'll go on the rabbet. Your hinge jamb, your strike jamb. And the header, onto the rabbet as well. You want the door to basically just compress the flap. Just compress the flap is all you want. Okay, let's take a closer look at this material in terms of its a couple of the finer points, I think, of installing it. Now, I believe the finer points of installing this are, the first time I did it, I worked with really long lengths and I stretched it, and it really just popped loose. So as I peel that back, I'm working with shorter lengths. Because I can kind of control it as I move down. I've seen this material installed and it looks horrible, just wavy. On that frame, there's nothing but straight lines. So getting this placed on nice and straight certainly takes a little bit of practice, but it takes patience and the desire to do it correctly. So regarding the adhesive on this, it is quite substantial adhesive. Very good quality material. I don't know who they use, what manufacturer they use of this adhesive. And what I find is, what really surprised me was how the requirement of it being clean was so substantial. I thought I had the frame completely clean, and it wasn't when I went back and inspected it. So the adhesive is really great stuff, but the frame has to be clean. Don't stretch it. This material, because the intumescent's really not going to stretch, but you don't want to pull on it too very hard. Whereas with just S44 or S88, yeah, you can definitely stretch that. In addition to that logic, they'll make ligature resistant material. S88 material that's meant to break if you pull on it too hard. And not that pulling it straight is going to cause it to tear, but it will sure give. So you want to just do a lot of pressure. Okay. Looking at the rest of the installation instruction, I have beaten this horse on keeping making sure the frame is clean, and working with an amount of material. And like I said earlier, patience and just the desire to make it look nice. That frame cleaner is absolutely included. Okay. You will get your labels, and you will need to have those somewhere on your installation so as to attest as to the integrity of the material that you have installed. And of course, the inspector is going to be looking for this. Smoke and draft control seal and intumescent seal. Okay. This material has a angle in it so that you'll be able to apply it. I would keep this in a position where it can be visually inspected. The inspector will very likely be looking for this. Inspections are required actually in, I believe, 4 occupancies on an annual basis. Inspections of fire door assemblies is what I'm speaking of. Egress doors as well, I believe, is mandated. In a very small quantity of occupancies. And what that means is that there are people checking, or supposed to be checking, or I should say the building owner is obligated to maintain records attesting to the integrity of these openings. And obviously material like this, that's required by code to be installed, needs to be in healthy working operation as well. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Pemko products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the HSS2000xS44D in any size, that was a 4070 kit, they're going to send straight lengths, or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much.